Everyone, welcome back. So in the last video we have seen how to create this driver IO framework from the very base, from the beginning with very simple steps of command. We were able to create and do the setups. Now let's see in this video that whatever is created in some default test cases, that is login.feature, if we are able to run successfully or not. For that, so there is a simple command npx wdio space and your configuration file name. Here our configuration file name is wdio.conf.ts, which is in our root project folder. So we just need to say wdio.conf.ts. If you have JS file, you just need to say JS. If it is in some separate folder, you need to give the path. So suppose if you have config folder and inside that you have file, so you need to say .config / and then file name. So all you need to do is what we are telling here in this command, that with the help of WebDriver IO command line interface, we need to run this configuration file. So as soon as you run this code, what will happen, it will go here and it will look for these details inside it, and accordingly it will execute our test. So for now, let's run the test and then we'll explore what is there inside configuration file. So I'll hit enter. And by default we will see the execution in Chrome. Maybe in the later videos we can see that how we can change the browsers. We can run in parallel or we can run in different browsers, that we will configure in the later videos, but for now we'll execute only in the Chrome. So if you see, one execution started and it is trying to invoke some commands, and after that it will start. Let's wait for browser to be executed. So if you see here, capabilities found browser name and some configuration. So it is trying to create a browser session with Chrome name. And now if you see, it is opening the Chrome browser. My system is a bit slow, so it's taking a bit of time, but yeah, it is trying now. And yeah, it started loading this URL. It will perform login with twice, one with a valid credential, another with invalid credential, and validate the message. So enter the username, password, click on login button, and then yeah, message validated. Open URL again, enter name, password, yep, and validate invalid message, and execution completed. Now if you see here, spec file, one passed, one total, 100% completed, and this much time it took. When the system is faster, it will not take this much time. It will be much faster. It will be some 30 seconds or something, it will be able to execute. Now if you see here, there is 3 steps is here, that is nothing but a scenario, one scenario and another scenario, 2 scenario, total 6 scenario. If you see here, 6 steps is part, 2 scenarios, sorry, and 6 steps, 3 step and 3 step, total 6 steps is passed. So we can conclude that whatever we have seen in the previous video, whatever we have done the setup, it's good to start with, and we were able to execute successfully with the pass result. Now let's see, when we ran this command, that is npx wdio conf.ts file, what exactly happens. So we are saying with wdio run this configuration file. So let's get into this file and see what is there in this file. Now if I just scroll up to the top, we'll explore from the beginning. So first things is a runner, where you want to run your file. I'm running in my local, so local is there by default selected, again based on the configuration. Second option, you see here, spec. What we are saying here is that where your feature files are located. Now what we are saying, from the root project folder, go to features folder. So root project file, features folder, this is a features folder. Inside that, any folder with any file with dot feature extension. So if you come here inside this, we have only one feature file with the dot feature, that is login.feature. So it will execute that feature file. Now exclude section is nothing but if you want to exclude some feature, suppose you have 10 or 15 feature and you want to exclude 1 or 2, you can just mention the path of that feature file in this block. Then we have maximum instance here, max instance 10. It defines that how many instance of a browser you want to see at one time. you can control that either 2 or 3 or 4 based on your capacity of your system. Then we have a capability setting, which is where we define our which browser and how many instances of that browser you want to execute. So as of now, in this we have only one browser configuration where we are saying that maximum 5 instances of a Chrome browser. If you want to add different browser, we can add, which we'll see later. But for now, we are saying run our test in Chrome browser where maximum 5 instances are defined. Next option is log level. How, what kind of log level you want to see. That is been defined here. You can change either of these: trace, debug, info, warning, error, or silent based on your requirement. If you have info, only info related this logs you will see appear in your report and in your console. Then we have another important is base URL. Base URL defines which URL you want to under test, which application is under test. You can define the URL up here. Wait for timeout is nothing but default timeout for all the wait for commands. That means it will be a timeout. If you don't define any timeout timings there in your actual test, then this will be applicable by default. These are simple, and you can just read and understand. This is for connection retry timeout. What is the maximum timeout for retry to connecting a browser? Then it will try 3 times. If it fails 1 time, it will try total 3 count. Default request retry count is 3 times. Then we have services. We have selected during the configuration is Chrome driver, and that is what we are seeing here. Framework we have selected as a Cucumber, and that is what here. This is a reporter related. We have selected spec and Allure in the last video, and that's what is configured here. And then another important detail is where your step definitions are located. So if you scroll back again here, we are mentioning only the feature file name, that which feature file to execute, but feature file will not have your actual code. Your actual code will be in your step definition or in your JS or TS file that we need to map in this Cucumber related configurations will be here. So we need to say in that require section where your step definitions are located. So we are saying under features folder, under step definition folder, inside that any file with the TS name. So if you expand this, any file with the .ts. So we have now login.steps.ts. So these features will be considered while execution. So this is the important part. And then there are other configurations which you don't need to worry much. We can say this is a dry run where if you want to execute, you just want to see the connections are there for all the steps. If you have all the definitions are defined or not, you can just make it true. There are other configurations which you don't need to worry. We'll explore later again in the future videos as it is required. But for now, three things is very important actually. Require field where you should have your step definition. Your services should be Chrome, driver to execute in Chrome, and where your spec files are located. So this should be the correct path. Also, you can just make sure that whichever browser you are giving, that browser name is here. We are saying Chrome, so Chrome it will execute. If you want to execute in different browser, you just changing the only browser name will not run. You need to do few further configurations that again we'll see in the next video. But yeah, this is the configuration. And when we executed our command, when we said that npx wdio conf file name, our command, that time it came here. It looked for the feature file, which feature to execute and which step definitions are mapped for that, and then it started the execution. It worked. So now let's see, we'll try to write our own feature file, sample feature, and then we'll try to execute. So let's just create inside features itself. I'll create. So what I'll do this time, I'll validate. So let's see what to validate first. So we are going to validate a very simple scenario. We'll open this URL and we'll validate whether this message is displayed or not. This header is displayed or not. That's very simple scenario we'll take, and then we'll just write feature and steps with this. So let's go back to our Visual Studio Code, and I'll create a feature file inside features. So let's say right click, new file, and say home dot feature. Not features, it's a feature. Now we need to write here scenario, feature, scenario, and step definition. What I'll do, I'll make use of default files whatever is generated here, and then we'll try to write our own. So I'll just copy this come back here, paste it. Now I don't want the same scenario. What is my scenario is, I'll just write it. So first things, you need to say what feature you are going to test. I'll say in the internet website home page. So we are validating home page. Now in this scenario we need to say what scenario. In one single feature file you can have multiple scenario. Here we'll validate as of now only one. So we are saying as a user I can open internet site. Yeah, that's all I can say here. Now we'll say given I open the browser and load the URL, and we'll define URL value here. So what we'll say, we don't want this data here, I'll just delete one. Something like this you need to define. So see what happened when you say scenario outline, you can, in scenario outline you can maintain the data that you want to pass in the example table. For example, if you go back to our previous feature which we executed by default created, what happened, let me explain first what happened when executed last time. If you see here, only three step is there, but when we executed there was a 6 result. Reason because for this step there is 2 set of data here. Now how there is 2 set of data, we are saying given I am on the login page, I log in with username. This username value is coming from here. This header is matching with these values. So first time it will take this username here and password is here, that password from here it will pick. Then I should see the flash message saying which message, this message. This will be for one iteration data. Now again because we have one more data here, it will go for second iteration again, and then username will be replaced with foobar, password will be also replaced with barfoo, and then message will be replaced with this data. So 2 iteration, first and second for the same step. So we are passing actual data from here, we are just defining, we can say a variable. So similarly we'll do here. So what we need is that we need to pass in a bracket, I'll say home page URL. What I'll do, I'll just say here home page URL. I don't need this detail here. And I also need a message, welcome. No, I'll say home page header. Home page header. So I don't need these details, I'll delete it. Now home page URL, first we need to say what URL you need to load, right? So I need this URL. This is not the best practice to pass. We can maintain URL and all in separate place. We'll see in the later video, but for now I just want to show an example. So I'm just showing this. So when I say given I open the browser and load URL, it will load this URL, and I'll simply say, I'll delete this now. When I'll say, then I should see not flash message, header message with text. And what should be the text? Header text. And I'll say header text here, and the value, what text? This is the text, or this is the header. So I'll just replace it here. It doesn't look arranged, so what I'll do, right click, format document, and it will auto arrange for me. If these options are not coming for you, maybe you need to download the extension of a feature, Cucumber, from this option. So here all the extensions are there. You can go here, click on search, and then search for Cucumber, and then you'll be able to find related extensions so that these keywords are supported here. Now what we are seeing, again let's revisit. We are we are testing the homepage, internet website homepage feature, in which we are validating whether we are able to open this website or not. For that step is I open the browser and load the URL. So load the URL in the sense, which URL? This URL. Because we are defining the variable here, we can say variable itself for now, and then this is the value. So it will open this URL. I should see a header message with text, not a message. I should see header with text. So I should see header with text, and what text? This text. So this is what we have written now. Step definition. Sorry, feature file. Now we need to have step definition for this feature file. if you run now, this feature will get error. Let's see what we are getting without writing any step for this. If you are trying to run now, if I'll say again npx wdio space conf, sorry, the file name is wdio conf.ts, so wdio.conf.ts. if you run this command, we'll get into error, but let's try and see what exactly we are getting, and then we'll try to fix it. Not fix it, add the code as required. So because we did not write the actual code for this, we'll say that a step definition and define some kind of error will get here in the terminal, and we will see that. So it is trying to execute this, and we should get a failure message. Oh, my bad. So what I have done, it is started to execute all the feature files, because when we ran this command, it's running these two feature file, both of this feature file in multiple browsers. So now because we have login feature as well, and then homepage feature as well. So because we have defined like that, it will run everything, but it will fail for the home page. So I'll just stop this execution in middle. I don't need this execution. I don't want to run all the feature file for now. What we'll do, we'll run only this home feature file. So what I'll say that I'll define in our configuration that run only home feature. I'll go back here, and I have a spec file where we are defining which specs to run. I'll say run only home.feature. That what I will do, we are defining only this feature file to run, not any other. Now let me run this again. Okay, so if you see here, we got error. Now as I was saying that we'll get error saying a user cannot. So let's see what exactly the error is there. This is not defined. So if you look closely here, it's saying I open the browser and load the URL, this URL. See what we have written here, I open the browser and load this variable name, but in this actual step definition, it is replacing that name with actual data, which is we are passing example. So this feature is correct. Okay, it just because we are getting is not defined, you can ignore this by doing something it's mentioning, but we don't want to ignore for now. So and same as for other as well, I should see a header with a text welcome to the internet, that is that this text is appending here or replacing here. So now because we don't have any step definition, so let's go and start writing our step definition for this. So I'll create another step definition, new file. I'll say home.steps.ts. You can write any name with a ts file, and just steps means all the steps related I am adding. So home.steps.ts. Now in this ts we need to write our actual code. Now you need to generate step definition, actual step definition for this. There are many ways. You can write manually for everything, okay, or you can use some plugins available and you can generate the steps. So if you want to write manually, what you can do is just first you need to import all the keywords that is required, given, then if you have when and all. So what we'll say, import, and inside this we need to import, but let's say from where you want to import. So in a single or double quote, add the rate, just type cucumber / cucumber. So this is where you will import everything. Now what and all you need to import, given, and I need then, I don't need when, so I'll just import only these two things. So I have imported. Now I am ready to write our step definition. Now for this you can write here manually like this, given, then inside bracket you can just paste the data, and then you can say comma, arrow function, curly brace, open and close curly brace, enter. Inside this you need to write actual definition. There's a space have. Now but this will not work because this is not the data. Now you can write some here regex value here, and then you can generate, this will be taken. Now instead of doing all this manually, what we can do, you can make use of some plugin available in Chrome. So what you can do, go to Chrome and let's install a plugin. So I'll just search for tidy jerkin here. just type it in the Chrome and you'll get first option in the Google Chrome store, tidy Gherkin, right? So just Gherkin, and let's open this. You'll come to Chrome store. Now because for me I have already installed, I'm getting this launch app option. For you it will be like add extension or some option here. Just click on and install it. Now it will be added to your Chrome this store, okay, sorry, extension to the browser. You can just click launch app and you can open here, or next time if you go right in your browser, so you need to find where it is exactly. So if you see in your browser here apps, you can just type that, or you can just type a URL. Which URL? This URL, Chrome. I can just type, so I'll add again here, Chrome : // apps, and just enter. So there you will have all your extension visible here. For me this app is the visible tidy Gherkin, and just click on it, it will open in my window. So this is what you will see once you download. Now what I'll do, I have already written the feature file. I'll just copy this and go back again here and I'll paste it. You will see some steps. It's a preview here. Now if you want to generate a step for Java, you can say Java steps. You'll have Java related. If you want to for Ruby, you can, but we will select JS step. JavaScript and TypeScript steps are very similar, approximately everything same. So I'll say JS steps and I'll copy only this step. You don't have to copy module.export everything, you just copy these steps only. Go back here to your step and paste it. Now here first things you delete this dot, that is not required from here, and here as well this. So just two things you delete and your step definitions are ready. You can just use it now. Now I don't want callback also, I'll just delete it here as well, and I'll remove this pending steps. Few cleanup you have to do, but you have your steps ready properly. Now here you'll not see the text. Here it's a regex value, so it will be automatically appended for whatever we are using. Okay, so this is what you'll be using. Now what we need to do is this is nothing but whatever value you have passed here, right, inside that variable is here. You can use it later whenever you want. So this is our step definition. Now we need to write the actual code for this. Okay, so if you want to write the actual code, first you need to say I need to open a URL. So for that, browser dot URL, and inside that you need to pass your actual URL. Now URL we are passing from here itself, right? In which step definition, this is your variable which will hold that value. So I'll just pass it here inside directly. That's it. And I want to maximize window as well. So I'll say browser dot maximize window. That's it. Now once you open this URL, I want to validate. That means once you open this URL, you want to validate this text, right? So now first we need to write XPath for this, or any locators for this, not only XPath. You can write ID, you can write any class CSS locator. Now what I'll do, I have a class here for this locators heading, so I can use this class for a reference. I'll just validate dot. This is a CSS locator for the class. You need to see dot and the class name. So I'm just saying dot heading, and this will take as a locator for this. Let's go back and store in const variable what will say header equal to. Now if you want to write any locators in WebDriver IO, in Selenium we have driver.findElement. Here it's a simple thing is dollar in bracket single or double quote and your locator. That's it. That's what it is, nothing else. Now one more thing we need to see, that we need to make these functions, because we are using async mode, will be writing async here. So we'll be using async mode always, because this now newer versions of WebDriver support only async mode, and they have suggested in that we will stop using the sync one. So let's write async mode only. Now this is our locator. That simple it is. You don't have to write driver.findElements by XPath or by ID or anything. All you need to say is dollar inside the bracket your element locator. It is intelligent enough to find whether you have passed the CSS locator or XPath or ID or any such element. So it will be automatically finding. You don't have to write it. Just single dollar will return you element, one single element. If you want to use multiple, you need to say double dollar, which is for multiple element. Now as we are using async function, we need to use await as well for all the steps. So I'll just keep on adding here await. Right, now this we have captured the locators. Now we need to validate it. Now to validate, we'll use WebDriver IO assertion itself. For that you need to say expect, and if you hover your mouse, we are getting auto suggestion, right? From expect from WebDriver IO it is coming. This all auto suggestion is working because we have created tsconfig file in the previous video and we have added these configurations. So this is responsible for, it will give you intelligent, intelligence where you'll get auto suggestion. So I'll just, inside that I need to say for what I want to wait, perform wait for this element dot, and I'll say to equal, I'll say here get text. So what I'm doing, I'm getting element from this is a web element. From there I'm getting a text, and then I'm saying validating equal to what we have already said, that in our step definition our we will validate with this message. This message will be passed in a step definition here in this variable. So all you need to say is that assert with this value, whatever you are passed here, this value header text, assert with that. So I am saying get the text of this header and validate whether it is equal to this value or not. So with this our step definition is ready and we should be able to execute now. So what I'll do now, I'll run a command again, npx wdio conf.ts. With this we should be able to execute it successfully. Let's check what happens. So it is started execution and should try to load the data whatever we have passed. So yeah, I think it's loading. My system is a bit slow, so it takes a while. It should load, it should maximize the window and then validate the text. So yeah, maximized, and it should validate and close. Okay, so it failed. Let's see, there is an error. It's saying we have expected this value but received blank. That means something here is not working. We are saying we are expecting this value to be passed, this value which we are coming from our feature, but it did not get it correctly. So something is not right here. It's not recognizing this heading. Okay, guys, there was an issue here. I just missed one line, and that is why it was just not working. So what was the issue means? As we are using async await, we have to use with any WebDriver IO related commands. We just need to await. So when we are saying get text here, it's a WebDriver IO related command, so we need to say await. So I've just added await here, and so now let's run it again and see if it is working or not. So I'm just executing. So yeah, execution is completed FCU and it is passed. So yeah, that's what. So it means we have successfully validated, opened this URL and validated whether this text is coming or not. Now just to make sure this code is working fine, what I'll do, I'll change the expected value to some other data, and then we'll run, and then it should catch this failure with exact assertion error, so that we'll know that our test is working fine. So let's I have changed this actual data with 1 2 3 have added. Now the text should not match and it should give the correct proper failure. So let's just rerun it and see if we're getting error or not. Okay, so now execution is completed and you see the assertion is failed. And as we see here clearly in the message here, if you scroll up here as well, you'll be able to see what is expected and what we received. So we expected 1 2 3, but we received this, so it failed. So it's working perfectly fine, because if there is something wrong, it will catch this and the error, and if everything is going right, it will pass the result. So with this, we'll wrap up for the day, and in the next video we'll see how to optimize this code, because now what we have done, we have maintained our locator here. So this is 1 or 2 steps, so it looks easy, but when our test will grow, when in real time you'll have so many tests, so many scenarios to test, so many locators to capture. Capturing those locators in this test class is not a good idea. It's always good to use in separate class and then call it out wherever you need. We already have a defaultly created this page object. We'll try to make use of this page objects and see that how we can optimize our code further. So we'll see that in the next video. Thank you.